right, it's Sunday. It's about 10 o'clock, I think, in the morning on Sunday, March 31st, and starting the trailhead. Starting at Bullet Canyon, as you can see back here. And I've been here before, exited at this canyon once, but I've never started from here. So I'm gonna go down canyon here and then go down canyon at Grand Gulch. They suggested that because they said the road was worse getting out to the government trailhead where I originally wanted to go. So we'll go do that, see how it goes. The plan is come out on Thursday the 4th, so I'll be out here for 5 days, see how far we can get. My goal is to get to the Narrows section, I think just past Collins Creek, which, I don't know, maybe 20-25 miles, so I may or may not have time to do it, but I got no schedule, got 5 days, we'll see how far we get, and we'll have a blast doing it. The weather looks great. I think today's the worst weather of the whole trip, so this is as bad as it gets. I should be okay. So let's go see how it goes. Well, I always say about water in the desert, if there's water anywhere, there's water everywhere. That's a good sign. Love it when there's water. The only thing I got to worry about on this trip now is getting cold and falling and breaking something. You should be able to see the snow now. Get the sun out of the shot. It's smarter than it was snowing earlier too. Hopefully that's as bad as it gets. There's the offending cloud, I believe. Jailhouse Ruin. Absolutely beautiful spot. Here we are. Made it down to Grand Gulch. So at the Bullet Canyon Grand Gulch confluence. Took me a little over 4 hours. I only took a 10-minute break in the middle of all that for lunch, and the rest of it was talking to people. Ran into more people than I expected, and talked to a few of those, probably about 5 or 6 groups, not too bad. And then there's just a part of the canyon where it's rocky and ledgy, and you have to negotiate down it, so that took a little bit of time. But here I am, a little over 7 miles in, and let's see how much longer I can go. All right, this is the actual confluence of Bullet and Grand Gulch. There it is, quite a bit of water. Look at the flood. Look how high that is on that tree. All that debris, that's crazy. I don't want to be here then. Now's a good time, plenty of water to drink. The trail is definitely a lot less used once you go south from Bullet Canyon. Most everybody does the loop from King Gulch, north of here, and then cuts up Bullet. So yeah, you can see the trail doesn't get worn quite as much. It took me a few minutes just to figure out a way across Grand Gulch. Let's talk a little bit about how the trip's gone so far. Originally I was supposed to start from Government Trail and get down into Grand Gulch from there, but when we called last week, they said that the road out to Government was too bad, so I changed the permit to Bullet Canyon, and I drove out to Government Trailhead yesterday, and it was fine. The road was almost better than the road out to Bullet, but I kept the permit the way it was, came down Bullet with no problem. Took me about a little over 4 hours to get down Bullet, and which is a little over 7 miles. Then I turned down canyon at Grand Gulch, and now it's just a tangled mess. And so it's my plan was to go about 3 more hours, but everything's going really slow, so we'll see how far I can get. Most people do the loop from King Gulch down to Bullet, and so going down canyon from Bullet, there's not much trail. It's not very often traveled. Everything's been good. The weather's been great. It's been a little chilly. And you can see I got my long sleeve on, which I originally wasn't even going to take, and I'm glad I brought it because I've had it on all day. And it snowed a little bit, but it was just spitting snow. And that's about it. I've seen probably 5, maybe 6 groups of people who were headed up Bullet, heading out. and that's it. That's all I've seen, so it's not too bad. Other than that, it seems absolutely wonderful. Let's just see if I can find a viable route to get through Grand Gulch going down canyon from Bullitt. That'll be the real challenge. See how that goes. All right, looking out at this view from my camp, I think I'm gonna start reading a book. I've already read it once before, but I think it's time to read it again. What do you think? Looks like the perfect place to read this, doesn't it? Well, day's over. The sun's gone down behind the canyon wall, so it's gonna start getting cold here real quick. It was a great day. I didn't go very far after I had the last video. I did eventually find a trail, and that was good. Made better time, but I was 8 or 9 miles into it and just kind of felt like my feet were starting to ache a little bit. My back was starting to ache, and it's the first time I've had my backpack on since I think like maybe July? Yeah, like July of last year. So it was time to stop and take a break and set up camp. So got a great camp and stay here tonight. Hopefully I won't freeze to death, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Well, I tried to film this morning at the camp, but the phone battery was dead. It said like 90% when I started recording. When I recorded and went and looked at it, it was completely shut down just because it was cold. Kept all my electronics in my sleeping bag last night, but evidently the phone didn't cooperate. It was still cold, so the sun finally came up. I put the phone in the sun, and now it's fine. But so yeah, it got cold last night, but not too bad. I woke up twice, once because my toboggan came off and I got cold, and I put it back on, went back to sleep, and woke up about 5 in that pre-dawn chill and put my down jacket on, and then slept fine. Slept like 10 hours last night. I don't know why. I sleep 7 hours at home and 10 hours on the trail, but went great. It was cold, but it wasn't too bad though. Well, I think last night was as cold as it should get on the whole trip. Yesterday it was chilly hiking in, and today it's warmed up as soon as the sun got up. I got my short sleeve on for the first time, so that's good. So I'm gonna head up canyon. It is just as crazy thick. There's nowhere to go. It's crazy. I'm just picking. I'll spend 5 minutes and have to backtrack, and I don't get anywhere. So we'll see how it goes. My goal is to get to at least where Government Trail intersects Grand Gulch. We'll see. If I don't care. I'm not trying to get anywhere in particular. I'm just happy to be out here in the beautiful canyon country. So let's enjoy the day. All right, here's where I am now. See how beautiful and open the canyon is. It's great. But here's what I just came through. It was a tangled mess of underbrush, but mostly flood debris. I mean, some of the flood debris was over 6 feet high, and the trees, it was crazy. But made it through that. I'm sure there'll be a lot more. We'll keep on going through the pretty stuff for a little bit. Hard to see from way over here, but found my first rock art of the trip. And then I don't know if I can even get over there and look at it. See how bad it looks zooming in. It's hard to see, but it's there, I promise. So it's important to see how high, or how deep really, the gulch is. The water's in. Usually you're running right along the edge and trying hard not to fall into it. And there are places where it's probably 60 feet or more above the water. And if the sand gave way, you'd certainly have a hard time. Certainly you could break your neck if you wanted to. And usually, you can see right there, that's the way up on the other side. I gotta get down. And it's usually like this. It's just cut straight down. Luckily it's sand and not mud, so you don't just slide down, or don't slide down uncontrollably anyway. And then I gotta climb back up on the other side, which usually requires hands and knees. Sometimes you get tempted to just stay in the water, but it's just as flooded up as everything else. All right, I was way down there Look how beautiful the canyon looks from up here. Climbed up on Slick Rock Bench. Here's a side canyon. I think this is Green Canyon coming in from the side. Grand Gulch is continuing that way. But as I looked up on the canyon wall, look what I found. Yeah, Anasazi ruin. I can't say I found it out of dumb luck. I actually had it mapped on my GPS that it was somewhere nearby, but just looked up and saw it. So that's pretty nice. This is a new one for me. I saw a couple others yesterday in Bullet Canyon, but I'd seen those before. So I've climbed up here and I'm going to check this one out. So it's just amazing how well these ruins have held up. Look how well everything's holding together still. Up here under this overhang, protected from the elements. It's been here for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And you can even see a window or a door, I don't know. See inside. Pretty amazing. I haven't seen any other rock art or things like that on the walls yet, but I haven't looked very much. And then the view from here, absolutely incredible also. Just amazing. By the way, I forgot to mention it's called Totem Pole Ruin. So that's where I'm at. You can't find the trail sometimes. This is what the flood debris looks like. You just get completely hemmed in. I've lost the trail for about 5 or 10 minutes now and was down in the water. But there's a ruin nearby, so I'm trying to get to that. We'll see. Another set of ruins. This is called two-story ruins. You can see the one on the left has 2 stories on it. This was miserable to get up to. I'm sure that I missed a trail somewhere, but I came up down through there through flood debris that was just horrible. But hopefully I can get back out. See if I can climb up there and get a better look. See what it looks like. The interesting things here at two-story ruin is you can see all of this old corn cobs. Really amazing. Think how long those have been here. They used to farm down there in that canyon. They farmed for corn. Pretty amazing. See more of it over here. Yep. I have a hard time finding pottery shards, though. I can't tell the difference between a pottery shard and a regular rock. I think I found one right here. That might be one because it's curved. I don't know. I'm really bad, as good as I am at finding 4-leaf clovers, which I did find one of those just a minute ago. Still can't find pottery shards. Go figure. Reading that Edward Abbey book last night, and first off, I'd forgotten how crazy the man was, but he loves the desert, and he can really describe this desert. He pointed out something, how everything's rocky. You look, everything, there's just rock everywhere, and that's what you think of when you think of the desert, rock and sand. But, like right here, stand right here, and I see at least 6 or 7 different species of completely different plants. There's 1, 2, 3, there's some grass, there's 2 different kinds of trees there. I mean, and there were 2 different bushes over here. Just amazing. I mean, it's not much plant life, but when you find it, it's really, really diverse. Well, today was a rough day. Canyon was hard. It was a whole lot of full contact hiking, that's for sure. I'm bleeding. I've got bruises. It was crazy. At one point, you keep having to cross over the creek, and it's a solid 15, 20 feet usually from the trail that's at the top to the water at the bottom. And so you slide through the sand, and Then you have to climb back up the other side, and that's tough. But one of those times I was sliding down, and I reached over and grabbed a tree branch, which I did every time. This time it had cactus needles stuck in it, and that went straight into my hand, so that was pleasant. But just a whole lot of full contact hiking. Saw some nice ruins, but then I couldn't find any good campsites, and I started looking about 3 o'clock just to call it a day, and I went for an hour and didn't see a single campsite. And then the water that had been flowing in Grand Gulch ever since I've been in it was completely gone, no water whatsoever. And so there I was going down canyon. It was about 4:15 at that, 4:20 at that point. Run out of water, still hadn't found a campsite. So I was like, screw this, I gotta turn around and go back. So I turned around, went back till there was water, and I found something that passes as a campsite, although it's not a good campsite by any means. So it's been a rough day, but it's been a great day. I haven't seen a single soul since about noon yesterday, and right now it's 6:30. So that's a phenomenal day all by itself. Canyon's beautiful. It's a whole lot more tangled up. I mean, you can see all this stuff all around me. It's just what it is. And so it's hard to get anywhere. It's hard to get views of the canyon a lot of times. But still really, really nice. I'm enjoying it. It was a whole lot warmer today. That was good. Yeah, so originally I was going to camp 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow night at the same place. But this is such a horrible campsite that I'm not going to do that tonight. I don't know what I'll do. I may backtrack and just find a nice campsite that's nearby and back the way I came and hang out there for the day. We'll see. But great trip, wonderful trip. The only bad thing today really was finding a crappy campsite. It'd been nice if I'd found a better campsite. But I got 2 more nights to do that, so shouldn't be a big deal. And that's about it. We'll keep doing it and enjoying it. Can't beat. I mean, it's incredible how beautiful, how quiet, how peaceful and alone it is out here. And that's a great thing. Got to keep enjoying that, that's for sure. As you can see right here, the water down in Grand Gulch, there's plenty of it. In fact, just in the past couple hundred yards, there have been 3 or 4 pools that have been at least 5-6 feet deep. Interestingly enough, as you see it flowing and everything, about a mile and a half downstream from here, it completely disappears. Totally dries up. There's nothing. That's why I turned around and came back up. I've got springs mapped on here, but I just didn't want to trust them. And I only had half a day before I had to turn around anyway. It's interesting how much water there is here, and then how quickly it just completely disappears. Walking through the canyon, finally got a little bit of sun. It's a little overcast, so it's not too bright yet. And I look up, and I see this wall, and look, there they are. Some pictographs. Some really nice ones, actually. Reading my Desert Solitaire book, and I now know, I'm trying to learn the difference. Pictographs are the ones that have been drawn, painted. And petroglyphs were the ones that have been carved. So these have obviously been painted. You can see people and hands. Up here, probably deer. There's some kind of, I don't know, bird. Goodness knows I can't interpret this stuff. But it comes all the way down. Really, really nice. I'm glad I saw it. And I saw that circle right there with the green, the dark circle inside. I didn't notice before that it's like the eye of a big, huge bird. That's really cool. Something, other stuff over here, a plant or something. It's another little bitty bird. That's a little scary, isn't it? It's a little bit like a, I don't know, scary mask. Some other stuff over, some yellow things right around in here. Kind of really faded. The thing I always wonder is you see these big slabs of rock next to them, and you just can't help but think, are there pictographs on the bottom sides of those where they've fallen off the wall maybe? You may never know. They're everywhere. Any of those could have pictographs or petroglyphs on the bottom sides of them. There's a good example of what I'm talking about with the slabs. There's some art on that slab, and the only thing that's holding it up is this other slab that's fallen down. So it could easily fall down and flip over, and we'd never know it was there. Interestingly, the rock art is all along the wall here easily for almost 100 yards probably. So it's the longest I've ever seen. It's really cool. One of the interesting things about that rock art panel that's back there behind me is I'm headed back up canyon, which means that I've already walked past this panel once on the way down, and that's got to be the biggest backcountry rock art panel I've ever seen. So it just shows you how easy it is to miss this stuff if you're not really paying attention. And today I'm got nowhere to go, and so I'm just taking my time, and it's surprising how much more I see when I'm taking my time and paying attention and looking around. So don't forget that. Enjoy yourself. Relax when you're in this backcountry. Well, I just did the most amazing thing ever. I completely took a wrong turn and went up the wrong canyon. Whoever thought you could be in a huge canyon like Grand Gulch and take a wrong turn? I know how it happened. There's one other group that had gone up canyon that I'd been going against their tracks all the past couple days, and so when I turned around and started back up canyon, I started watching for my tracks because my tracks were the only ones going down canyon, so I was just going against my trail. Well, then I kept following tracks that were going the opposite direction, and I went for probably, I've come at least a quarter mile up this canyon, and finally after a little bit I looked down and noticed, wait a minute, there's more than one set of tracks going the opposite direction, and the ones that look a lot like my boot prints, my prints are triangular and these are rectangular. Like, those aren't my tracks. What's going on? And so I look at the GPS, and sure enough, I'm going up the wrong canyon. That's interesting though. I got in a trance of following boot tracks, and evidently the other guys who had gone up canyon had done the same thing. Either they came up here for a reason or they took a wrong turn too. So I got caught in that trance of following their tracks the opposite direction, and it led me up a wrong canyon, which is really nice though, because like I said, I got nothing else to do today. It's just explore, so I'll explore this canyon some more. For this side canyon I found myself in is Step Canyon. I've come about close to a mile up canyon from the confluence of Grand Gulch, and I'm just below its confluence with Pine Canyon. So you can see some beautiful formations up on the canyon wall above me. It's just really nice. There's a kind of a trail, not much, but I'll tell you, the only thing I've been following for about the past three-quarters of a mile is one set of deer tracks. If anybody's been up this trail, they hadn't been up this year, and just really, really quiet, really, really nice, and can't beat it. I think the trail becomes a little bit iffy back behind me, and I left my sunscreen back in the pack, and so I'm afraid I'm getting sunburned, so I'm going to turn around and go back and put that on. But this was a really nice side trip, and I'm glad I did it. I think that that rock art panel was even here in Step Canyon, so the one I thought I'd passed by yesterday, I hadn't. This was up the side canyon, so really nice. And gonna head back and find a campsite or explore some other side canyons. This is the view from my camp, night 3. I am about a mile or so up Step Canyon from Grand Gulch. Found it by dumb luck. Just really kind of took a wrong turn out of Grand Gulch and headed up Step Gulch instead of up Grand Gulch. Found a great rock art panel, kept going, then realized I was in the wrong canyon, but decided to keep going anyway because I didn't have anything else to do, and found this absolutely beautiful campsite. My tent is right there under that tree. Can't beat it. See, I found that great campsite down there in the trees here in Step Canyon. I've now climbed up on a Slick Rock bench right above the camp, and I think I probably could have found a Slick Rock campsite right there. Pretty level. It almost looks like there's rocks where somebody may have camped there before. It's a little steep getting up, and then definitely be steep getting down with a pack on, but probably could do it. Step Canyon is beautiful. No other tracks up this far at all. Nobody's been up here at least this year. Just a beautiful, beautiful place. You gotta bring a tent, especially a freestanding tent, into the desert. Be sure you bring cord, because this soil was not very deep. It was holding up just fine, and then presto, it got really windy, and then it wasn't so stable anymore. So luckily I had some cord. Now we're tied down. Shouldn't blow away tonight. Right now I'm trying to outrun that pitch black 10% chance of sprinkles today. I'm sure I'll fail miserably, but it just keeps getting blacker and blacker. Really wasn't supposed to rain at all today, but we'll see what happens. Well, the storm caught me. It's not too bad. It's just it's cold. It's sleet more than anything. Not a big deal. Put my rain jacket on and waited out for a minute, I think. Found an overhang to ride out this rain. It's cold, and got this really thin seal nylon pack cover, and all the brush I'm having to go through, I really don't want to put that on the pack, and I've got all my electronics on outside pockets. I have to keep them dry somehow, so I've decided to get under this alcove and wait it out for a little bit. Still got a long day and not very far to go, so nothing else I have to do. If you're looking for a guy to hide your food storage, I would totally hire this guy. He's got this. I'll show you more of that in a minute. Look how high up we are. I probably totally should not have climbed up here by myself, but I did. I'm telling you what, if you want to hide your food storage, this is the guy to hire to do it. Well, that's what I saw from the bottom that made me realize something was up here. And I don't know what that is. This is, I think, Green Spring Canyon. I don't know if it's named after this or not. Thought this was a wall, and it may be. I'm going to walk a little further and see. There's another structure over there that I did not see from the bottom. So we'll see what that is. It's pretty sketchy up here. It's one of those places you don't move at all while you're taking pictures, that's for sure. And it is a structure on the other side. You can see the one opening, and this is the only opening there is, and it's completely covered over, so it's jet black in there. Even using my phone light, it was hard to see, but I'm assuming, like I say, that this is food storage. I'm sure that's a defensible wall because it is a easily 250-foot drop probably down the side, so you got to come through there to get into here. You see more of that green paint. Really cool. Here's that other structure. It's also completely mudded over really well. Got the light on. Let's see if we can see anything this time. So, oh wow, it's thatched over. That's incredible. Yeah, that is crazy. Look at that. Been here for hundreds of years, just like that. You can see the wood supports right there. Over here on this side too. Focus. Yeah, right there. Well, that was incredibly awesome. I'm not afraid of heights at all, but getting through that little doorway right there was a little bit sketchy. I mean, you have to just not look down and climb through. Talk about some amazing defense for your food. It really is incredible. This was a side canyon. I just dropped my pack and thought, hey, let's go see what's up there. And walking along, and I just happened to see some white marks on the wall, which turned out to be bird droppings, but it made me look closer, and I see this big, huge ruin up here. Had no idea it was here, and probably one of the best ruins I've seen on this trip. Little in this world I love more than the sound of a raven echoing off canyon walls. There's one over there. Let's see if we can catch him. He was a little bit. In addition to the ravens, you probably hear the other thing that's very common out here in Grand Gulch is jets flying over. Must be right under, I mean, there's got to be some VOR station or something, some navigational aid nearby, because it is non-stop jets flying over all day, all night. It's crazy. By the way, I said this was Green Spring Canyon, but it's not. It's Greenhouse Canyon, so I'm betting it is totally named after that structure up there with the green paint on it. Also, I have to mention that I saw the first people since Sunday morning, so almost exactly 3 days a little over 3 days, without seeing anybody. But now the illusion's shattered. 3 days without seeing another person is the best thing in the world. But now I've seen other people, and now I'm not so worried about getting closer to Bullet, where I'll see more people again. So we'll see. I may go a little further today than originally planned. We'll see. Well, we're nearing the confluence of Bullet and Grand. Unfortunately, the illusion of solitude's been completely shattered. I've seen 3 groups already. I didn't expect to see anybody before I got to Bullet. And the campsite that I picked out back that away, which I'd seen on the way in, was the one I planned on staying at tonight. Was a lot more pleasant when it was cloudy and cooler. It's way too sunny and exposed now. So I think I'm going, evidently there's a big group camp right at the confluence. So I think I'm gonna head up Bullet. If I find a campsite there, I'll take it. If I don't, I'll keep on heading out. I probably won't make it out before right at dark, and then I'll car camp or something. We'll see. I had planned to camp just a little bit before I got to Bullet Canyon because I hadn't seen anybody at all for 3 days, and I wanted to keep it that way. I knew once I got near to Bullet that it would get more crowded. Well, I started running into people before I got to Bullet. In fact, I ran into 4 groups before I got to Bullet. So then I started thinking, well, what's the point now? I've already run into people, so the illusion's busted. And then when I hit Bullet Canyon, there was a big group camp there, And so I just started up canyon. It was hot, the sun was out, wasn't cloudy at all. There was one campsite I looked at previously that I thought about staying at, but it was way too hot and exposed. So I just started up Bullet and thought, well, I've got just enough time to make it back to the trailhead if I need to, but I'd rather not. I just started looking for water and a camp, hoping I'd find both eventually. I did. I made it here to Jailhouse Ruin and found a campsite, had water, said, this is where I'm staying. Then put up camp, and then started hearing a large group of teenagers camped. I'm looking right at them right now. Camped on Slick Rock. And they're probably more than 500-600 yards away at least. But it's desert and it's open and they're loud, so I can hear them. But whatever. It was perfect solitude for 3 days, so I guess this is my payment for that solitude. And I've got less than 5 miles to go, so I'll get up in the morning and just pack up and head out. I'm glad I've stayed out another night. It's been a good trip. It's been a really, really phenomenal trip. Kind of feel like I haven't been as, I don't know, philosophical as I usually get when I'm on these solo trips, but I think that's mostly because this hike has just been hard. It's been really, really hard. There's no just turning your brain off and walking. Every step of the way, it's trying to figure out where the trail goes or where the path of least resistance goes. And climbing up and down in and out of the canyon bottom is hard, takes a lot of effort, and you're doing that every couple hundred yards at least. So there's just never time to shut your brain off. But it's been a phenomenal hike. I mean, how can you beat 3 days without seeing another human being? That's just phenomenal. I don't know why it's so crowded now. It's a Wednesday. I don't know why it's crowded, but it is. So it's time to get out. And permit is still tomorrow, so tomorrow is when I gotta get out. And I'll get out. Got a room in Hanksville, and I'll go to Hanksville and have me a Stan's milkshake, and it'll be really, really nice. Phenomenal trip, just absolutely can't beat it. Absolutely can't beat it. And want to do it again. Have to do further down canyon, that's for sure. I did notice a ruin right over in there, but that right there, just a little bitty small thing. The way you see those things is there's rectangular windows, there's right angles, and even prehistoric people made right angles, and nature doesn't make right angles. So when you see those, you know you got to run. All right, last day of the trip. I'm down at Jailhouse Ruin, so I think I got about 5 miles up to the trailhead, and that's it. End of a 5-day trip. Been an absolutely great trip, great solo trip. 3 days without seeing another human being is the way I like it. Had a nice campsite last night. You can kind of see back here a little bit. The only problem was there was a group of teenagers, probably 10 of them, sitting up there making racket, but once it got dark they got quiet, so it was fine. But anyway, phenomenal trip. Let's hike out and call it a day. Well, that trip's over. I got up here right at 11 o'clock. Just absolutely phenomenal. I leapfrogged 2 other pairs of guys all the way up Bullet. Phenomenal trip. Now let's go relax for a couple days.